Hello everyone, John 12 back here again with another video. Now I'm here to specifically give you another John 12 top 5 pick. Today I'm giving you my favorite Dragon Ball Z characters. Yes, once again it's a Dragon Ball Z top 5. I'm sorry, but I did mention I had a lot, but we're getting closer to the end now, so I might as well just get to it and give you my top 5. Now basically this video, just so you know, is very subjective. It's my personal thoughts, my personal top 5, so obviously none of you, there's going to be a lot out there who will disagree with my personal list, but as I always try to suggest, as always, if you have your own specific top 5, feel free to comment them to let everybody know your top 5 and your reasons as to why, which is always important. But excluding all that, let's get right into it. Number 5 of my top favorite Dragon Ball Z characters has to go to Piccolo. Not King Piccolo, not Piccolo Jr., Piccolo, the Piccolo. Even though they're the same person, it doesn't matter. The point is, Piccolo is a badass. You cannot just deny that he's just not ultimately a cool character to like. He's obviously one of the first villains to start off as a villain, and to have like this really nice arc where he becomes the hero in the end and does very important things like sacrifices his life, teaches someone he doesn't really even know his fighting style, and just tons and tons and tons of ways that Piccolo is really cool. But one of the main things I love about Piccolo is that he's not human and he's not a Saiyan. And to be on Dragon Ball Z, by the end of it, you had to be at least a Saiyan or a Super Saiyan to actually someone give you shit or give a shit about you. Piccolo, on the other hand, did an amazing job at having a staple on Dragon Ball Z without actually even ever doing anything. I mean, like, if you watch the Buu Saga, he doesn't really do that much, but overall, he's still there and you still feel his presence. And like, it's kind of like a cast of a TV show. It's like you have your usual people that you like and the main people, but there's always like the older seasoned actor who, you know, who doesn't really do that much or has that much dialogue, but still has a good presence that you appreciate, and that's Piccolo. But moving off number 5, let's go into number 4, which has to go to Gohan. Gohan is just a fun character to like. He's definitely the Robin to Goku's Batman, so to speak, and I think he really lives up to that. I mean, I know there's tons and tons of people who go on and just say like, oh, Gohan shit. He's not that good of a hero. He's not the hero his dad is, and that's granted. I mean, like, there's no better hero than Goku. You know, I've said this millions of times. He's the Superman of anime. You know, it's hard to top that. But Gohan does definitely a good job, and he definitely, like, creates a name for himself, and definitely is a hero in his own right, amongst many other great heroes / characters in Dragon Ball Z general. And I just love Gohan. He's just a really fun, cool character, and just like Goku in the beginning of Dragon Ball and basically throughout the entire series, you get to follow his adventure. You know, you get to follow him as a kid, you get to follow his endeavors through training, you get to follow him through fucking high school, which I know a lot of people don't like, but I personally thought it was fun. And you get to just go from there and see him like evolve. And Gohan's definitely the strongest of the warriors in Dragon Ball Z. I know a lot of people like to discount this. You know, it's like, oh no, Goku's the strongest. Oh no, Vegeta's just as strong as Goku. You don't know. Gohan is fucking amazingly powerful without even actually doing anything. He's like naturally gifted like Goku. So, but overall, Gohan is just an awesome character and just an amazing, fun person to watch. You know, and I just love him. Moving on from number 4, let's go into number 3, the Holy Trinity, as I like to say on Dragon Ball Z, which has to go to Future Trunks. There's plenty interracial and versions. Let's just use that word. Versions of Trunks, just like how there is in Robin, like in Batman's universe, there's a shit ton of Robins, and in Dragon Ball Z, there's a shit ton of fucking Trunks. There's Future Trunks, There's the GT version of Trunks. There's the kid version of Trunks. You know, there's just way too many Trunkses. But overall, Future Trunks definitely holds in as like the more important, significant character in Dragon Ball Z without actually having to do that much. He could have like been silent and have said nothing, and he would have been just as badass. I mean, like Trunks, I know a lot of people have said this, like people who have worked on it and people who are fans of Dragon Ball Z said this, that once you get to Trunks, it's definitely a good new occurrence in Dragon Ball Z storyline. And I think that's a really good statement to say out there. I mean, like, it's kind of true. I mean, like, once the post Frieza saga, you kind of think to yourself, like, where can this go? I mean, like, Dragon Ball Z, like, went through the ringer right there, you know? Fucking Goku had the intensity and painful, like, grief of transforming to a Super Saiyan and having to defeat the the kings of kings, fucking Frieza, and basically, you know, was supposedly destroyed by Planet Namek alongside Frieza. But then Trunks saga comes around and the Android saga, and you're like, oh shit, like Dragon Ball Z is going all Terminator on us, and it kind of works in a sense. I mean, like, it's not amazing to the point where it's a masterpiece, but it's definitely a great staple in the storyline of Dragon Ball Z, and I think Trunks has a big reason as to why that is. Trunks is just awesome. He visually looks cool. He's definitely interesting. He has a lot of history to him, and he's just really fucking strong. And he's very, very heroic. I mean, like, he's not doing what he does because he wants to be a hero. He's not doing it because he wants to be the greatest warrior in the universe. He's doing it because he wants to stop the inevitable future, you know? He doesn't want the world to be ruled by machines, you know? He doesn't want them to be ruled by the androids. He doesn't want them to be... He doesn't want the world he loves to be destroyed even further. And he goes back in time and tries to stop that. And even when, you know, his actions completely have no significant value with his own timeline, he still continues on his journey to help the people he loves. And I think that's a really good act of Trunks as being a hero, you know? Like, there's lots of stages a hero must go from being the person he is now to, like, superhuman. You know, there's always an arc, and always stages and tests to show how much of a hero you are, you know? There's always the self-sacrifice, there's always the helping of others, you know? But Trunks, I think, storyline where he, like, continues to help the Z-Warriors and Earth defeat the androids and Cell, even though it has no effect on him, I think is really good, and he's just amazing. And no other version of Trunks has even touched the amazingness of Future Trunks. Even though I feel it would get a little too X-Men and X-Men-ish if they brought him back, but I think, yeah, fuck it. I want to see more Future Trunks. Screw it, bring him back. But that being said, let's move off number 3 and let's go to number 2, the big 1-0. 1-1, actually. What I just said didn't make any sense. But let's just move on to number 2, which goes to the Prince of Saiyans, Vegeta. Once again, Vegeta is on my number 2. I really was at odds with this, because I know Vegeta's the more, I wouldn't say important, but one of the more interesting characters on Dragon Ball Z to specifically read and / watch. But at the same time, Vegeta is a dirtbag. He's a douche. You know, he's the biggest asshole in the universe of Dragon Ball Z. And I guess that's one of those things that you kind of like. I mean, it's kind of like when you watch Game of Thrones or shows like that, where, like, the fucking douchebag, you love watching him, but he's a fucking asshole piece of shit, you know? And Vegeta's definitely like that. Of course, Vegeta, amongst most characters on Dragon Ball Z, has an arc where he transforms into the serious piece of shit asshole villain into the good guy. even though that takes a really fucking long time to develop, it's really fun and cool to watch that development, you know, which is one of the main reasons as to why a lot of people love Vegeta on Dragon Ball Z. He has the most development because of that reason. He develops throughout the series, and you get to watch that. And you get to watch him make so many mistakes with the possible, you know, outcomes he could have chose with his reasoning. And also, I just love his commitment to what he's thriving for. You know, he wants to prove himself. He wants to become his birthright, basically. You know, ever since he was a kid, he was like thrown into the limelight, so to speak, where he's the Prince of Saiyans, and he has to live up to that title. And I really love that, and I believe there's a lot of lore to that. But amongst that, I also love his rivalry with Goku. I mean, Vegeta's rivalry with Goku tops almost any storyline in Dragon Ball Z, period. I mean, like, Vegeta's dedication to defeating, but not only defeating, but proving himself amongst the status of Goku is amazing to watch, and I just love Vegeta for that reason, and amongst most. But Vegeta's just a badass, you know. He's definitely like the Batman of the Dragon Ball Z universe. He's kind of just amazing. I know I kind of said that Goku was Batman, but, you know what I mean. Anyways, before I get to my number one, let me give out some honorable mentions. There's definitely tons and tons and tons of fucking characters that I hold dear and love very much, but I'm just going to name a few just to wrap this up. First off, for an honorable mention, Bulma. Bulma's awesome. Let's just put it at that. She's definitely the most significant female character in Dragon Ball Z. And there's not a lot, but she is definitely holds her own amongst the guys. And you always got to give it up to that. You know, because if it wasn't for Bulma, Dragon Ball Z would be pretty much just a sausage fest. And I don't want to go any further from there. Alright, so, another honorable mention, Bardock. The father of Goku, yes. He's just an awesome, badass character. And he definitely, even though he looks like Goku, is the complete opposite of Goku. And it's really fun to, I think, specifically watch his special to really understand why he's on my honorable mentions or in any type of list. So definitely go check that out. Let me just get down to the gritty and give you my number one pick. And I know what you're about to say. A little cliche, aren't you? I can't help it. I just had to do it. Number one goes to Son Goku. How can you like Dragon Ball Z and not like Goku? It's kind of pointless. It's kind of like watching One Piece and like not giving a shit about Luffy, or watching Naruto and not giving a shit about fucking Naruto. Like, his name is the fucking title of the show. How do you not give a fuck? And that's how I feel about Dragon Ball Z. Goku is the most significant reason as to why you would want to watch anime, period. You know, he's definitely a staple in the anime world. And he's the ultimate warrior. He's the ultimate hero. He defines what heroes are. You know, he doesn't kill. He doesn't fight to rule over others. He doesn't want to become like a god or a king. You know, he loves living a very peaceful life with his family. But also he thrives to improve himself as a warrior and a fighter. He believes in fighting, but not as killing others. He believes it's a sport, which is a good way of thinking about it, you know, which in today's world kind of is. That's what MMA is. If Goku was an MMA, he would be a champion. I don't know, guys. That's all I have to say. This has been my top 5. If you don't agree, please feel free to comment, but that's my personal reasons as to, obviously I can go on and on and on as to why they're on the list, but that is my top 5 personal pick of my favorite Dragon Ball Z characters. There's plenty of great characters, but that's my personal pick of my top 5. And I hope you all like this one, and I hope you check out my others.